Okay, it started.
Perfect. There we go. I see it on my side. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Mayor's Managers meeting for Wednesday, January 11th. Online with me is Deputy City Clerk Sarah Harkness, City Manager Shawn Lewis, Assistant City Manager Tim Dodd, Mayor Pro Tem Steve Ward, Deputy City Attorney Victoria McDermott, and City Clerk Stephanie Carlisle. Shawn, I'll let you kick us off on the 17th.
Thanks, Mayor. On the 17th, we still have just the one item, which is the public hearing for the PUD at 1314 West Oxford. And I know that, Mayor, you and I received a request for postponement yesterday, or notification of the request. So, Vicki, do you want to address that?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Shawn. So staff received a request from the applicant to postpone the public hearing that is currently set for the 17th. The reasoning that staff received was that the applicant wanted to conduct additional public outreach. Under our code, the applicant may make a request for a postponement after the commencement of the hearing. So that's in section 16-2-3-H-5. So our recommendation would be that to ensure transparency with the public and legal compliance, that if the applicant wants to make this request, they do so at the public hearing after it's opened. We understand that there are a number of members from the public that are planning on attending the 17th. So our thought would be to add to the agenda that the applicant has brought forward this request, and that may be considered.
Right.
And that to the extent that this would be continued to a different date, we would include that on the agenda. Additionally, since there are a number of people that have already made plans to attend, that we allow for some public comment, but that we do not close public comment to ensure that at the addition, if this is continued to a different date, that we make sure that public comment can still be heard on that date, so that the applicant isn't the only party that is essentially being the last heard before council.
Right. Okay. Steve, I'll let you start off.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get the process straight in my head. And I'm sorry, did you say, Mayor, did you say you'd love to start off or you'd like me to start off?
No, go ahead, Steve. I'm proposing my thoughts, so go ahead.
So if we open this hearing and then the applicant requests a delay, how do we handle public comment that night, or do we at all?
Well, but since there will be a number of people there, our thought was that to allow for some public comment to begin. If we could also not do that, but I would imagine that members of the public would be angry if they were to have shown up and it was continued at the request of the applicant in this way. So we want to, from a due process perspective, we can proceed in this fashion by allowing some public comment to be heard, as long as the hearing is open and has commenced. We just would make sure that when it was continued to the second date, we continue to allow the public to be able to make comment.
But then we're operating outside the normal order, because the normal order, as it's prescribed in code, is that the applicant presents first.
That would be correct.
Yeah, I'm not particularly comfortable with that. I'm okay with delaying the hearing, and I think this might require the consent of the rest of council, but I don't like part one night, part another night. That makes me uncomfortable. The other thing I'll point out is that if we do anticipate a delay and we're intending to publish that in our agenda, we also need to make sure that we update all the socials and the website and everything that we've already sent out regarding this public hearing.
Yeah, thanks for Steve. I have similar concerns. I was thinking about it in terms of, members of council have no idea about, they haven't seen a presentation on this, so we're not sure exactly what this PUD is about in a sense. They're asking for a postponement, so if they are to make any type of modifications, and I know that they can only make certain modifications in order for it not to go back to P&Z. and follow the schedule. But if there's public comment about items that may change between now and when the PUD opens again,
Mhm.
I have an issue with that aspect of it. But I do think that this is probably something that we probably should discuss Monday, see if people want to, members of council want to move forward with public comment. But I do understand what you're asking, at least for the 17th, Deputy City Attorney.
Okay, thank you. And I mean, in terms of responding to the applicant, staff has not done that yet. We would be doing that today, and we can let them know that, this is what the code requires. This would be the procedure to go about making that request. And verify with the applicant that they still want to proceed in that fashion.
And I guess just a follow-up, do they have another date in mind about the postpone?
Not to my knowledge, no,
Okay.
that hasn't been conveyed. All I know is that the request was made to just conduct additional public outreach.
Okay.
And then the other question I have is how long the P&Z approval lasts, absent a council hearing.
Bear with me on that. Let me double check that. I'd have to double check.
Okay.
While she's looking that up, I would just point out that I agree with the direction to, make a note on the agenda that the
Yes.
applicant has requested. However, kind of conversely to, I think that will give people that are maybe for and against the impression that, oh, well, this is going to be postponed. So if we did continue, like if anybody was able to present at the public hearing, I think that would also make them angry because they didn't come thinking it was going to be postponed. So we're a little bit damned if we do, damned if we don't on this one, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, people will be mad that showed up that it will be postponed, and people will not show up and would be mad if we did let some people speak. So
Yeah. But again, those that wish to speak could still do it during whenever this gets rescheduled, if it gets rescheduled. So
right.
yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Shawn. Not sure how to put any type of wording in there because yeah, I guess I'm uncomfortable having public comment that night, but other members of council may be comfortable. So
Yeah, I think go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think one of my fears is that the council actually says, no, we're not going to grant the postponement. And then we proceed. And then there has been an expectation set that it was going to be. So I don't know.
Can we talk about that? Some members of council can reject the reason for postponement.
And maybe that's unlikely. I don't know where council is going to land on
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I'm just trying to figure out.
I think your perspective makes sense, Shawn. Just post this as a regular meeting without any note about a postponement. If a postponement occurs, it occurs within the process, regardless of whether we knew the likelihood of it occurring or not. We followed the appropriate process, and that's where we stand.
Yeah.
And 2 points. First, with respect to the amount of days between the Planning and Zoning Commission and the council action, our code doesn't speak to that. It just speaks about the amount of days between the neighborhood meeting and Planning and Zoning Commission action, and that's 180 days. And then, so I think there's not a timing issue there. But with respect to continuing the hearing, that is at council discretion. That's not it. Should the applicant make that request, it's still at council discretion.
Okay.
And Steve, I appreciate you hearing what I'm saying, but I'm going to play my own devil's advocate here. I also think people will be very upset if we knew there was a request to postpone and we didn't let them know that that was a possibility. So I mean, I don't know what the public would be more upset about. I mean, I liked the idea of the posting, excuse me, posting something about the postponement, but yeah, I don't know. Other thoughts on that, Mayor?
For me, I I understand where Mayor Pro Tem's coming from. My preference would be to alert the public that the applicant has requested a postponement.
And I'm okay with that as long as we make it clear in any notification.
Yes.
First of all, we need to unify our notices to make sure that everything that the city has put out and will put out has the same messaging. So to the extent that anything that's already out needs to be updated, we should do that. Secondly, we need to make it clear that a postponement is an option. It's not guaranteed. So the applicant has requested it, but there's a process that we have to go through to determine if we're going to grant it or not.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right,
Okay.
anything else for the 17th?
No, nothing else. Not for me.
All right. Moving on to January 21st, we have City Council retreat, and January 23rd, land use discussion and typology follow-up, off-leash discussion on the 23rd, large utility designation, presentation 5, phase 2 charter review project, resolution appointing members to various boards and committees, and approval of bill for an ordinance authorizing an IGA with Sheridan for sustainability services. Looks like, excuse me, we've got a couple of outstanding consents. Do you want to go ahead and do those, Mayor?
Which was that? It's just the last one, right?
Oh, but the resolution, well, the resolution could be a consent agenda, I guess, but I don't think we usually do we?
Normally we do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I would say yes to both.
Okay. All right, I think that meeting's good. Moving on to February 6th, we have the November financial report, 2023 redistricting, resolution of support for ground lease agreement between McClellan and Integrity Motors, water efficiency plan resolution, bulk fuel and fluid from Synergy Petroleum resolution, 13 units from John Elway, 2023 budget supplemental, motion to approve revisions to City of Inglewood Charter as approved by voters, 2023 All Health Network contract for mental health co-responders, Malley Trust Fund purchase recommendations, and an ordinance amending code regarding quarterly billing cycles for utility billings, utility code updates. Oh, we're not done. Approve an ordinance of the municipal code, restitution of victims of ordinance violations. Let's see, public offense code to mirror changes in law to ensure compliance, short-term rental ordinance revisions, an ordinance regarding city sales and use tax, first reading of an annual agreement with Arapahoe County to receive CDBG dollars, approve a bill regarding, okay, I don't know where we're at. Oh, there we are. A bill for an ordinance to repeal municipal codes, Title 12, cable standards, and then an ordinance approving Comcast cable franchise agreement. And first reading of SAM PUD, that will change. And then the next one will change as well. All right, that's the end of that long agenda. Does council have, well, Mayor Pro Tem, have any interest in trying to restore any of these items? No, we're already at Wednesday. Sarah, how many of those items are already in the queue? Like already in my queue in iCompass? I'm just wondering if council would like to relieve your workload by taking some of these items on the 17th, if in fact that postponement does occur. I mean, if it doesn't occur, they can still be pushed back, but we have really rearranged our schedule, and I did make sure that community development staff let the applicant for the PUD know that this is going to be quite disruptive to council's agenda.
Yeah, so it looks like for the 6th, we have the 2023 All Health Network. That one looks pretty close to being ready to go. Mally Trust Fund purchase recommendations. I think, let's see, CB4, first reading looks ready. I think there's one from the study session, let's see, that we could push up. CB5 looks ready to go for the IGA for sustainability with Sheridan. So we could potentially move a few items to the 17th.
So I guess the thinking there would be, if we're able to move some things onto the 17th, if we do move forward with the PUD, we would just table those items until, you know, the 23rd or the 6th, depending on where we have them today, correct?
Correct. I mean, the reason February 6th is so long is because of this move we've made for the public hearing. You know, we really shifted things around. And if they do have the public hearing at a date to be determined, you know, that's going to disrupt that meeting. We're going to probably try to clear off that schedule too. So I'm just thinking of compression of items and really long nights if we don't maybe make some adjustments on this, but.
I am fine with that. Yeah, I am fine with making that move. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have an issue with that?
I do. I'm just thinking about process here. So we're coming into the meeting on the 17th. We don't know if the applicant is going to ask us to table it or not. We can't find out officially until we call the item. And yet we still have all these other items packed onto our agenda that we typically handle before we handle a public meeting. So which is it? Do we table them or do we leave them off the agenda? Do we hold them until after we make a determination and then conduct the public hearing and then table them at the end of the night? I just don't like it. It's messy.
I mean, I think the mayor does have the discretion during the meeting to say, you know, we're moving all of these other items, you know, to another meeting. So he can just do that verbally. That's within his powers.
I'm of the opinion that if those items are on our agenda, they need to be tabled by official action of council.
How many items were we talking about,
It
Sarah?
looks like we have one which would be on consent. Actually, two, we could do the resolution also, I assume. So two that would be on consent. And then let's see, these are also on consent. All Health Network, Mally Trust Fund. These are all approved. We could do these as well. Council bill, these are all second readings. Not all of them are on consent. This one is the only one that's not, it appears. Yeah, I think that's all. So a few second readings, quite a bit on consent though, almost everything.
Yeah, actually, so I'm thinking about it. Actually, I would prefer to keep it as is. And the reason for it is that I want members of council to go in this thinking that the PUD is going to happen. That PUD document is going to be pretty long, so I'd rather have them focus on that than these other items. So I think we just keep it as is for the moment, and just, you know, just based on the current schedule.
Sounds good to me. I do think we should look up though. I mean, if we're following Robert's rules, there's no such thing as tabling something that has a motion hasn't been made on. So you can't table something before it's been introduced. But maybe we should look that up and double check it.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the February 11th meeting. We've got City Council EDA Board Workshop. That will be at where cities, let's see. I guess that will be here at the Civic Center. And then on the 27th, we have information direction on McClellan Reservoir Foundation properties, administrative study, results for charges to the enterprise funds and component units, and the January monthly financial report. March 6th, we have board and commission member appointment recognition. March 27th, February financial report, and March 27th, sixth and final presentation of charter review.
Okay.
Questions?
No questions for me. Okay, well, I guess the only thing is that we still don't have anything for the 20th of February or the 21st. Which will change, but just and that just an FYI, Mayor Pro Tem, I'm gonna be out that day, so just giving you 6 weeks notice here.
Got it.
But I have no further questions though.
Great. I don't have any council requests that came up during the last meeting, I don't believe.
Okay. All right. Nothing came from the boards and commission meeting. Anything from you, Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm good, thank you.
Anything else from staff?
Not I.
All right. No one else chiming in? All right. So that concludes today's mayor managers meeting. Everyone have a great day.
You too.
Thanks so
Bye-bye.
much, everyone.